Good morning. Good morning. It's just Dracula here. Corval has been on a little vacation, but felt like we still gotta give the people what they want, you know? So you just have me today. I hope everyone's had a good week. Corval, he hasn't had a lot of access to price action. He actually did send in this little video for everyone to watch. He's probably in for a rude awakening when he gets back. I think he gets back today or tomorrow, actually. So I was going to share this video. He asked me to pass it on to you guys.
Hey team, I took a wrong turn somewhere and I lost my guide Manuel, and I'm not quite completely lost, but I am a little misplaced somewhere in the jungles of Mexico. But I did, before I lost signal, I had a chance to look at price, and I wanted to record this before I made it out of here because I got some time on my hands, and I wanted to say it's not looking good, fellas. So I think what you could do maybe is, have you tried typing a little bit faster, maybe programming a little bit faster? I don't know what you whiz kids are up to out there, but maybe try defragging the hard drive. Have you tried defragging the blockchain? Just some ideas. Get a little creative, guys. But yeah, Price is gonna need to do a little bit of, that. So, it's just Corval here, just trying to be helpful. So, anyway, looking forward to hearing from you guys when I make it out of here. Goodbye.
Man, so I guess it was nice for him to be on vacation while we had all kinds of stuff happening during the week. Yeah, Juice says, can the devs do something? I agree. What can these guys do to move the price back up? Yeah, defrag the blockchain. That was pretty funny. Yeah, everyone should get on that. I went ahead and pulled up the Bitcoin Weekly that we always look at, and I probably say this too often, but it was like, we're still just kind of sitting, we're still, to me, it's like this chart tells me like all hope is still not lost. I think that we did have like some macro finally seep in, I think a little stronger than usual. We've watched this market be pretty irrational considering all the things that are happening on a macro level. And I think that it's a kind of like a double-edged sword. I think that this election cycle as well, like, it kind of goes both ways with, Trump sort of being like a bullish narrative for like Trump being elected has kind of become like a bullish narrative for crypto at the moment. And I feel like some of that like uncertainty now that there's like a different candidate running and things are heating up, I feel like the yeah, exactly. It's Kamala's gaining ground in the polls. Um, yeah, I think that's caused a little uncertainty for people that felt more comfortable just like still being all in on the market. Um, you know, all things considered, there's still like a lot of conflict going on, and I think what we saw was you also had the rate cuts, um, or not rate cuts, but the FOMC meeting, which was flat, right? They didn't announce an increase, but they also didn't cut anything. And then the conflict over in the Middle East has like significantly escalated in the last few days. So I don't know. It kind of feels to me like not a lot had actually changed in terms of like, what was going on in the market, like volume, inflow, outflow. I think we were just finally having reality catch up to us a bit, with macro like sentiment. Um, so, looking at this chart, we're still holding over support. Um, I'm not really freaked out. We did finally touch our blue line, the magnet, but we're holding there for the moment. Now, of course, a big red weekly candle. Nobody loves to see that. But we did kind of wick and we're already up some. So I think it's going to be a really big weekly close this week. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on what we end up printing for the weekly. Yeah, it says here still above 60, which is like almost 10K more than a month ago. And I did make that exact same point in a chat talking with some people that at the end of it, yeah, we're still exactly. I mean, we're still above 60. If you come down here, red line, um, that's kind of like end of the world support. That's 50K, which totally makes sense since 50K is just such a big everything, psychological, where people have buys and sells and longs and shorts. And that's a big area. We're nowhere near that. We're holding support okay. So I'm not really freaked out. I mean, I think that I think we still see the market regardless heat up the closer we get to the election. I think that just with kind of the way the game has changed, we no longer have like what would have probably been like a march up all the way through the election. I think now we're probably back to a little bit sideways, but we'll see what happens. A lot can change. Obviously, like we saw what just happened in the last, less than a week. Um, so Bitcoin, not too freaked out. Phantom, a little uglier on the chart. I put a note here, Lev account blown. Mostly kidding, but if you recall in our last episode, me and Corval were both in pain after, the market started violently dipping. But like I said, we've kind of broke below support here. It looks like looks like there's a lot of fighting right here to get back above, which is good news. We haven't just like had a total free fall. So yeah, I mean, I think that hopefully we get back above this support for Phantom. Obviously, speaking of Bitcoin at 50K, Phantom 50 cents has been like a very heavily fought battleground. Um, you know, it's kind of it's kind of like a difficult moment because we're waiting for Sonic, right? And we've said this before that there's people that are building like larger serious projects are you're not going to deploy on Phantom at this point, right? You're waiting for Sonic. Which there was some really big Sonic news this week. I'll get to here in a second. But I feel like the two, we have the meme competition, we have meme volume, that gives a lot of incentives out for participating. I think that's kind of keeping things rolling to an extent. We have our DeFi staples, Equalizer, Beethoven, Spooky, all those kind of guys. So those are all still running. But in terms of narratives, it's like, I think it's, you see it on the timeline. It's like, Phantom is the pre-sale for Sonic. I think that's really about it right now, right? I mean, what else do we have until Sonic? So everyone's just kind of hanging out, having fun, or in the case of this week, probably not having so much fun. But yeah, just a waiting game now. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it's a waiting game because I think we have a ways to go for Sonic. But that is just kind of what's happening. I mean, we have access to all the usual stuff we use every day on the network, the meme competition, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of new stuff until Sonic, unfortunately. But that does bring me to big news yesterday. We had this gem dropped on the timeline. So I mean, that was huge. They officially, they dropped the bomb. They are now Sonic Labs, previously Phantom. It's official. So they dropped this little video, made the announcement, put out like a kind of like a short website, just giving the general, consensus of what's going on. As far as the website goes, now I want a croissant. It's not I don't, having already kind of looked at it, it's not like a ton of information right now. I think this is just kind of saying, boom, we're here. Touches on, that there's going to be liquidity flowing from other networks. Kind of just about the settlement and TPS stuff that we're always hearing about. This is kind of like a little area for builders to go ahead and apply, because a few weeks back we touched on that, how there's going to be a giant like building fund similar to kind of what kicked off Fantom DeFi last run. So I think that's still pretty bullish. Then newsletter, some partners. So not like a huge rollout. Kind of, I think this is just kind of like laying the groundwork. It's saying we're here. Scrolling through this a little, same thing. They're just kind of, saying, hey, like, we're getting started, get in touch if you want to build something. I was looking for, okay, it says we'll continue to support our current Opera chain as well. That's kind of what I was looking for, was to see like what they say in reference to Phantom. So yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, we've all been here on Phantom. People that were here last run, used to be a lot of fun talking about the spooky ghost chain. I think when things kind of died down last run, I think a lot of people kind of wanted to move away from that. They felt like, oh, people don't take us serious because, everything's branded as like something spooky, ghosts and tombstones and, whatever else. So this is very grown up, right? This is very, The logo is very like, I don't know. I don't want to say like Web 2, but you know what I mean? It's more of like a stronger branding. Um, so I guess that could be possibly one of the only concerns really is, I mean, it's August, right? Um, I know that they're planning on rolling things out by end of the year, but yeah, I mean, we still probably have a solid, 3, 4 months before things really get moving. But I understand that as well, that you know, you got to start like getting the word out, because obviously we've been talking about Sonic forever in our community, but the rest of the world, the rest of the blockchain, not rest of the blockchain, but all the other networks, you got to start getting the word out. So pretty exciting though. Um, I honestly did not expect, all this to be happening already. Maybe it's just because it's kind of snuck up on us. We've just been waiting for so long. But yeah, I mean it's great news, and Sonic is coming soon. Another thing I wanted to touch on was they've been sort of already rolling out some of like these innovator grants. Uh, Good morning, Miner. Good morning. They've already been rolling some of these innovator fund grants out, and this is to like kind of have projects that are ready day one on Sonic. So familiar faces here, of course, but good to see. The next round here that was announced is Equalizer, Paint Swap, and Silver Swap. Of course, everyone uses Equalizer and Paint Swap. Those are two of the main things on a network I was talking about earlier that, we still have those while we're waiting. Silver Swap, I don't know how many people are familiar with Silver Swap quite yet, but it's basically the team that took over Spirit Swap, and they've rebranded it Silver. They're also getting ready for Sonic. So kind of nice to see, okay, these are projects that have been working on the network for a long time, pushing the network. So nice to see them getting rewarded. And also exciting that, they're going to be there day one. Paint Swap, especially, is going to actually, I mean, not only are they a staple on the network, but they have a huge role in the Sonic rollout. And I think this is going to be pretty interesting. Um, the airdrops for Sonic are going to be given out via kind of, similar to like a VNFT kind of system. Like you have an NFT, your tokens are in it. It kind of is going to have like a time decay. So, the longer your tokens are kind of like getting slow released once you get your Sonic tokens. But what's going to make it interesting is similar to kind of like a VNFT market. Paint Swap is going to facilitate like a marketplace for trading these, So it's going to be fun to see people speculate on it. Similar to VNFTs, people will be interested to know like, oh, okay, like maybe I'll buy this one. It only has this much left on its lock or whatever. So I'm really excited to see this. It's saying there's going to be kind of like an order book, which I think for FNFTs is really the way to go. Um, yeah, like I'm just super interested to see that. I think that this was like a really cool idea to basically team up with Paint Swap, to like handle this part of like the Sonic rollout. So that's going to be super interesting. Um, Equalizer, obviously, like the marketplace on Phantom right now. The flywheel is great for all the projects that are still, hanging around. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's like it gives all the projects utility as well while we're waiting for Sonic. Um, this one doesn't surprise me. I mean, obviously, Equalizer, not only just a great project, but just been like a huge, huge proponent of Phantom itself. Um, you couldn't bend one of these guys' arms to get him the FUD Phantom. I tried. I tried to get it on tape so I could, blackmail him for a new giant VNFT. Yeah, these guys won't even say an ill word on Phantom. They've just been the biggest, cheerleaders, supporters. So of course we got to get them ready for Sonic. So great to see. And then, as I said earlier, Silver Swap, Spirit rebranded. Yeah, and this is a really good point. It says if it wasn't for Equalizer, we would really be a dead chain. And I gotta agree with that. Just because you do have like farms on some of the other dexes, but the APRs are low at this point, and I think what the solidly system brings is there's something to do every week, right? So like every week, if you're a project every week, you're setting up your bribes, you're seeing what other projects are bribing, you're trying to be competitive, you're kind of getting ready for that. On the user side, every single week, you're getting that epoch flip day, getting ready, same thing. You're seeing what the bribes are like. Maybe you're getting introduced to new projects that you haven't seen yet because you're like, oh, okay, well, check out this bribe. So yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, we would be in a lot more trouble, I think, if we didn't have Equalizer also giving us stuff to do every week. Yeah, good point here. Minor equal game memes a home, which kept FTM DeFi alive. And I do agree with that. Equalizer is just kind of an interesting. I was super interested in the solidly model as soon as it launched. So I've probably participated in just about every single fork on every chain, whether it was like, okay, I'm getting in early or I'm just gonna, check it out. Everyone's kind of got like their own little tweaks and changes, but I truly don't think there's a project that's uses this system that is similar to Equalizer. You go to a lot of the other chains, it's still like a lot of DeFi. Um, you know, there are no solidly forks that I know of. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I was about to say that you know of, sir. No, yeah, I mean, especially at like launches on the solidly forks, it's always just kind of fun. Everyone goes crazy those first few epochs, getting their bribes set up and everything. Um, so, so yeah, I mean, they truly, I guess I could change this episode to like, the equalizer glazing episode, but truly they've given us, something to do, on top of the meme competition. Like I said, it's just, there's stuff going on every single week. So those are the main things I was going to touch on today. Yeah, and this is weak glazing. um, yeah, I'd also say that scale to me is definitely undervalued. That's the base network version of Equalizer. Um, yeah, I participate over there as well. Um, you know, I think it was still a good play. I mean, base kind of had its moment where it was blowing up and it was like the next big thing. But I think at the end of the day, if we are like seeing like a true bull run coming, you know, Coinbase having an L2, being able to push retail straight to their chain, they have that new wallet. Yeah, I think that scale, or equalizer, whoever I think that's still like a really nice position um to be in. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, eventually, we're going to, Coinbase is going to bring retail to that chain. I mean, it's inevitable. It's not maybe as strong as people would like now, but yeah, easy LP on ramp. I agree. And that's what they're gonna do, right? I mean, I you're gonna see that base is like a lot of people's first exposure to, you know, dealing with like a real crypto wallet and dealing with like a real, you know, DEX or whatever. So yeah, definitely undervalued. But yeah, besides all that, it was not like a huge news week. I think everybody was just kind of like a little downtrodden. So not a ton going on, but still wanted to hop on here, look at the charts, chat with everybody a little bit. So that's really all we got for today. I'm gonna probably be kicking off here early, but Corval will be back today at some point. He's been in Mexico all week, so hopefully he's rested up and doesn't have a heart attack when he finally sees the charts. And yeah, we will be back next week for our usual shows. You know, Phantom Talk for the streams. Oh, War Dogs. Yeah, that's probably worth mentioning, don't you think? Yeah, so F Dog, a project I help out with, has an NFT mint later today, 3:30 p.m. UTC, or no, 7:30 p.m. UTC for whitelist, 8 p.m. UTC for public. It's kind of like it's an NFT collection, but we kind of view it more of like a lotto kind of deal. Because yes, they are NFTs, but it's a really low supply, 130, and there's a 5,000 Phantom jackpot. There's a bunch of other ways to win prizes. We're treating it more like a lottery than like an NFT release. But yeah, big money on the line. So definitely check out FDog_FTM if you want to get more details on that. There's also on Phantom's, or I guess now it's Sonic Labs Twitter. There's a big Spaces today coming up. I'll throw some details up on that real fast. And that's at 5 p.m. Yeah. With Lewis. And there's, a lot of the meme competition projects that are going to be on that today. So, yeah, check that out. 5 p.m. UTC. And yeah, that's about it. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for hopping on and hanging out for a little bit. Have a good weekend.